By the end of this video, you'll know exactly whether or not you have metabolic disease by looking at 5 different variables. And most importantly, we'll go through some practical strategies and a step-by-step game plan that you can use to reverse it. No guesswork, no extreme dieting, and no endless cardio. And why should you care about this? Well, the statistics are pretty scary. Roughly 1 in 3 US adults has metabolic disease, and most people have no idea. And having it increases your risk of heart attack by over 300% and your risk of developing type 2 diabetes by over 500%. This is not something you want to find out the hard way. And sadly, most doctors aren't looking at the right variables to detect it. So this video is broken down into 3 parts. First, why having metabolic disease matters. Second, how to use the checklist to determine whether or not you have it. And third, if you check 3 or more boxes, how you can reverse it. And the checklist I'm about to share comes from Bradley Bale and Amy Duneen, who are co-authors on the book, The Heart Attack Gene. They're also the founders of the Bale-Duneen method, and they've helped thousands of patients determine that they were high risk for heart attacks or strokes and prevent those heart attacks or strokes despite being told by their doctors that they were fine. Their method focuses on identifying and treating the root causes of cardiovascular disease. It's proactive, it's very well researched, and it flat out works. And this really hit home for me because as a coach, I work directly with busy professionals and parents to help them optimize their health, energy, and longevity using the same prevention first mindset. Before we get to the checklist, almost 98% of people that watch these videos aren't subscribed to the channel. So if this helps you, please consider supporting the channel so you don't miss any future videos. It's free for you, but it really makes a difference for me by allowing me to do more research, produce better quality videos, and cover more important topics for you. All right, let's get into the 5-part checklist for the risk factors. But try not to let this stress you out. The point of me sharing this is to help you identify whether or not you have metabolic disease. And right after we go through the checklist, I'll share some very practical strategies that you can use to reverse any of these risk factors. You qualify for metabolic disease if you have 3 or more of any of the 5 following risk factors. The first factor is a large waistline or abdominal obesity. And you can check this by wrapping a tape measure around your waist right at the top of your pelvic bones where your love handles are. Don't assume your belly button is your waistline because it's different for everyone. And there are ethnic differences in failing scores, so we're going to go through each of them. A waist measurement of over 40 inches for men or 35 inches for women is considered a failing score. And that's for Caucasians, African Americans, and Hispanics. And for Asians, abnormal numbers are considered over 35 inches for men and over 31 inches for women. The second risk factor is high blood pressure or hypertension. And the failing score might shock you. If your blood pressure is 130/85 or higher, it's considered a strike. Many healthcare practitioners still consider this level to be acceptable, despite decades of data showing these levels damage your arteries and put you at higher risk for heart attack, stroke, and kidney failure. That's why you need to know your numbers, and you can't rely on your healthcare practitioner to be telling you the real risk, as many of them would look at this number and tell you that you're fine. And if you're on a treatment for high blood pressure or hypertension, even if it brings your number below these, it's still considered a strike. The third risk factor is low HDL cholesterol, otherwise known as the good cholesterol. And if your level is lower than 40 milligrams per deciliter if you're a man, or 50 milligrams per deciliter if you're a woman, that's also considered a strike. Even if you're being treated for HDL and taking a medication that brings your number into that ideal range, it still counts. And while we're not going to go into extreme depth around cholesterol in this video, I do have some other videos that cover the topic if you're interested. The fourth factor is high triglycerides, which are often a warning sign of other disorders that can boost your risk for heart attack or stroke, including obesity or poorly managed diabetes. If your triglyceride levels are 150 milligrams per deciliter or higher, that's considered a strike. And if you're taking a medication for your triglycerides, that counts too. The fifth and last factor is high fasting blood sugar. And this implies you're getting this tested after you haven't eaten anything for over 10 hours. If you have levels that are 100 milligrams per deciliter or higher, or you're taking a medication to manage your blood sugar, that's considered a strike. The healthcare system uses levels above 100 to designate someone who's pre-diabetic and levels above 125 to designate somebody that's actually diabetic. But ultimately, anything above 100 is too high. So if you meet 3 or more of any of those criteria, it's time to take action. And I get it. Life is super busy and health often takes the back seat. But making small, consistent changes can have a massive impact. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight, and you shouldn't try to. Start with manageable steps and you'll build momentum over time. Here are some very practical lifestyle changes that you can implement today to reverse metabolic disease. And as I said before, these aren't fad diets or extreme workouts. These are sustainable habits that can fit into your daily routine and will help you reverse all of the above risk factors to get them into the ideal ranges. The first is to walk for 30 minutes a day, 5 times a week. Daily exercise is the #1 habit that you can implement to start reversing insulin resistance and metabolic disease. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just 30 minutes of walking can completely reverse all of the above risk factors. Second, cut added sugar and ultra-processed foods. Swap out sugary drinks, packaged snacks, and refined carbohydrates for real foods. Fruits, veggies, lean proteins, healthy fats, and fiber-rich carbohydrates. All of these can be part of a healthy diet. You don't need to be perfect. Just aim to eat primarily single-ingredient, real foods. And recognize not all calories are equal. Third, you might want to consider a ketogenic diet. Ketogenic diets have a focus of high fats and low carbohydrates. And what this does is forces your body to learn how to run on fat for energy, which is a more efficient and healthy source of energy for anyone that's dealing with metabolic disease. And you don't have to follow it forever, but in the short term, it is an extremely effective tool for anyone that's looking to reverse the condition. Fourth, you might want to try and track your waist circumference weekly. Waist size is one of the simplest and most predictive markers. So keep a tape measure in your bathroom drawer and track it once every day in the morning before you eat food. Progress in this category leads to progress everywhere. And if you practice the habits on this list, you should start to see progress in just a week or 2. Fifth, get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night and protect your wind down routine. Lack of sleep increases insulin resistance, raises blood sugar and blood pressure, and it triggers sugar cravings. Protect your sleep like your life depends on it, because it literally does. And when it comes to a wind down routine, it's helpful to have a ritual of 30 to 60 minutes before you go to bed to wind down your body so that you get into a deeper sleep faster. 6 is to reduce your alcohol intake and to manage your stress proactively. Alcohol, even just on weekends, can tank your HDL, raise blood sugar, and drive inflammation. Start by cutting it in half and pair that with 10 minutes of mindfulness, meditation, journaling, or even breath work on a daily basis, and you'll do wonders to retrain your nervous system so that it's not in fight or flight mode all the time. 7th, you should try and lift weights twice a week. Resistance training improves insulin sensitivity and reduces abdominal fat, even without weight loss. And you don't need a fancy program for this. A single dumbbell, a single kettlebell, even some bodyweight squats and push-ups, anything will get the job done. The real key is consistency. 2 times a week is the sweet spot. And last but not least, you may want to consider getting some advanced labs done or hiring a coach. If you've already checked 3 or more boxes, talk to your doctor or your primary care physician about more advanced testing for your cardiovascular health and inflammation. And if you're tired of guessing and want hands-on support, working with a coach who understands both prevention and your lifestyle can accelerate the entire process. Now you know exactly how to spot metabolic disease. And more importantly, you know how to reverse it before it leads to something more serious. So here's your next step. Pause for 2 minutes right now and go through the checklist. Write down how many boxes you check. And even if it's 2 or more, commit to 1 lifestyle change and then track it throughout this upcoming week. You don't need more motivation, you just need a little momentum, and that starts with a single small action today. My entire goal with this channel is to give you free, science-backed knowledge, frameworks, and tools that'll help you optimize your health, your performance, and your longevity. So I hope this was helpful, and if you're a busy professional or parent that wants a customized blueprint or more hands-on support, check the link in the description to learn more about my one-on-one coaching or to download the free 5-step fat loss formula. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you on the next video.